For the following RDF-related lessons, we will need two pieces of software. All related links to this software will be attached to this video as resources. The first one is a code editor. This is needed for the whole course since we will create our knowledge graphs as code as well as develop corresponding software. As code editor, I personally recommend Visual Studio Code, but other editors would also do well. Just pick a code editor that suits you. Keep in mind that we will write in various formats and scripting languages, such as Turtle or Python, so an IDE specialized on one specific language wouldn't be the most appropriate solution. Additionally, when using VS Code, I recommend using a suitable extension for highlighting RDF syntax properly. I had good experiences with Stardock RDF grammars and will use it throughout this course. Another important thing is a graph database. This is needed in order to store our ontology persistently without relying on document exchange. Furthermore, when developing an application for the semantic web, it should ideally interact with a database through the internet. As graph database, we will use GraphDB, which is well established in the industry and provides many features for ontology management and analysis, which are helpful for understanding the concepts of the semantic web in a learning environment. Please keep in mind that this course is not a GraphDB course, and therefore we won't focus on all features of GraphDB. In fact, I will try to mainly show GraphDB functions that are also existent in some way in other Triplestores. You can host a GraphDB Triplestore in several ways. One of them is to host it in a Docker container, which is also the preferred way in many companies. However, to avoid additional lessons on Docker for those who are not familiar with it, and to focus on the key aspects of ontologies, we will not use Docker in this course. Instead, we will learn all aspects of working with ontologies by hosting a Triplestore locally using the desktop app of GraphDB. You can install it on Windows, Mac OS or Linux. Follow the link provided in the resources. Then you have to choose GraphDB free. Then provide your personal information like your name and your email. And when you provided all the information, click on Request GraphDB. If you don't want to register at the GraphDB website, one solution would be the hosting of a GraphDB container in Docker. Thereby, you can download the GraphDB image via a Docker pull command without any registration. After you download the setup of GraphDB, it's time to install. Accept the license agreement and wait until GraphDB Desktop is installed. After we finish the installment process, we can test if GraphDB is working. You can start GraphDB Desktop by clicking on the desktop icon or using the Start menu. And after some loading time, the GraphDB database as well as the GraphDB workbench are running. In this GraphDB Desktop application, you can manage the GraphDB database settings as well as see a log of the GraphDB database. When you go to the settings, you can set the port under which the GraphDB database is running. In this case, the port is defined as 7200. When you go to Open GraphDB Workbench, you can open the GraphDB Workbench directly in your default browser. As an alternative, you can open the GraphDB Workbench by typing the local host address, including the port, in your browser. Let's open the GraphDB Workbench to check if everything is running well. When you open the GraphDB Workbench, either through a desktop client or by typing the local host address in your browser, when you see a window similar like this means you are perfectly prepared for the next lessons. Finally, I want to mention that many other Triplestores exist. Some of them are free and open source, such as RDF4J, BlazeGraph or Jenna Fuziki. Other are commercial Triplestores that usually cost money through professional licenses. However, most of them also offer free licenses like GraphDB. These free licenses have usually some limits in processing power and nodes. But usually these limits are only relevant when processing millions or billions of graph nodes. Please also keep in mind that BlazeGraph is no longer maintained and continued as new Triplestore by Amazon called Neptune. In the end, the choice of the Triplestore is not trivial, and I recommend to check for the latest benchmarks and comparisons in order to choose the best one, as the technologies in this field are constantly changing. If you want to learn more about ontologies, linked data, and the semantic web in general, I can highly recommend my Udemy course. There you will not only learn all the basics about RDF, but also about the query language SPARQL, automated inference of new information using reasoning, and developing your own ontology-based apps. You can find the link to the course in the video description.